Thursday. Kind of a gross split slate day. Not the most exciting slates in the world. But at least we have 5 games and not we didn't have one taken away from us. Which I actually had been excited to play because I knew I was going to have a different take than everybody else was. So regardless of whether I win or lose, it's always fun to have that happen. All right. Boy, for a while last night, my guy Scherzer looked like he was going to be the must play of the night.
Yeah.
I think he was only 9% in the big one on FanDuel, so I was kind of excited. And then things went a little bit south, and he didn't quite get the quality start.
What won the slate on DraftKings last night?
I have no idea.
Okay, I know it wasn't me. So
I had some good scores, but or some scores that normally would be good that didn't even cash. So I just was like.
I had all these Dodgers start to run it up in like the first inning and stuff like that. And second inning, I'm like, dude, I'm killing it. And then who did I have my pitcher? I had Talia. I'm gonna go later. Oh, I had the idiot. I had the BB. That's who I had.
Oh,
I played BB Talia with all the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Dodgers did fine, but yeah, you need to do a little. You need to do a little bit better. I mean, I obviously Burns was the idea.
Burns,
yeah.
All right, so let's pull up your screen and we'll go game by game here and see if we can't figure out something to do here on this.
Something to do.
All right, so.
Well, Strider strikes people out. We can play him.
Well,
all right, we'll get there in a second.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
Well, we as usual. We have Barrios in discussion. And you're the Barrios whisperer, I suppose. You like him? You like Toronto? You like Houston? You like Valdez? I can't imagine playing Toronto, but again, another short slate. Now again, you see the White Sox here, White Sox Yankees on the board, but it says it right here on the front on the top that it's the second hand of the double header, and that the players will not accrue fantasy points. So why put it up in the lobby? This is for people much smarter than I am. That's for sure.
Yeah, you're right. It's not. That's so strange, Sheets. So it is only 4 games. This is so confusing. This whole day just feels like almost
just those types of days that we're either going to just win it all or end up playing like 5 guys in games that aren't playing.
And I am probably going to be around for live because it just depends on what I have to do with my getting the wisdom teeth out. But
how many games do you think we'll even have? I mean, it's like
there's going to be 4, right? Like
it looks that way.
I think hopefully we get 4 until we get some weird news in Atlanta.
All right, so let's start with So I'm not getting any Valdez, at least first. He would not be the person that I would play. Why don't you talk about him and why don't you talk about Barrios? Because I currently, again, I have Houston is very playable, but I'm always on not the different side of you, but I guess I'm always like more anti-Barrios than most people, and he always seems to do well when
that's not true. I think you're actually everybody's always extremely anti-Barrios. When I play him, he's like 2% owned every time. This is now he's put up 20 every single game, so now people will play him. A little bit. Barrios, I think is. If I had to pick one of these, I'd probably play Barrios, but I don't really want to play either of them. Valdez is a great pitcher. It's just a tough matchup. And even in tough matchups, he's still very good. So I think he can get through it. It's just you have a lot of good righties on the other side. So I'm sort of off of I mean, it's weird to say that, but I'm not that interested in anything in this game. I might have to revisit it because we don't have a whole lot of options. But as of right now, nothing really stood out to me as being amazing. And on top of it, I don't think you're going to get like low ownership on Houston. Actually, I think we'll have some ownership, and I think Toronto's going to have I think that Kirk will have some ownership because of the catching position. I think that Bichette and Springer, good career numbers against lefties. Vlad is probably going to get like 10% ownership, so they're going to have some ownership here. I may take a one-off or two, but as of right now, I'm not really on that game as a target personally. Are you?
No.
Okay.
I'd like to think that his next game is where the majority of the hitting and the ownership is probably going to come from. Cleveland, Boston, and Boston's throwing this dude up there who's like 34 years, however old he is, making his first start, and he can't get anybody out of the Yeah. So I imagine Cleveland's going to look good. And then it's not like Boston has this incredible bullpen ready to back him up. So And then on the other side, I mean, I've always, not always, but I've been kind of like never embarrassed to play a lot of hitters against Savali. So this game, especially on a 4-game slate, when you have Strider in one game, so I'm not playing the Mets. I think both these teams are heavily in play, and will probably be heavily in play for everybody. No.
Yeah, but it's the worst hitting conditions on the slate. They have terrible hitting conditions in Atlanta. In New York, it's not ideal. Oh, sorry, we don't have New York. Never mind. Sorry, okay, I almost just jumped into that something totally ridiculous.
Yep.
Jesus, this slate. So so I mean, sure. The problem is you have Cleveland, no power Cleveland, and you've got Boston, who doesn't hit nearly as well away from home. I think that Boston doesn't get much ownership for what it's worth today, a ton of it, and I think that's something we could certainly do. For what it's worth, the thing about Savale that we say, I mean, I don't think he's given up. He's given up 1 home run this season. That doesn't mean anything, that he can't.
Yeah, I don't know how many home runs you're going to need on this slate either.
That's right, exactly. So maybe I'm overlooking at. Maybe I'm looking too far into that one. So I guess if I had to rank between the two of them, I would probably take I would want to take the Cleveland side, but I actually think that the Boston side will be lower owned, and maybe that's the right thing to do. What do you think, Sheets?
Yeah, you know what this slate's going to remind me of the early slate. I think we might end up playing like one-offs in the Mets. Get Strider, you take it a home run or something.
I'll tell you what we may end up playing is nothing.
Yeah.
I may just do the full on a punt of the slate. No, I'm just kidding. I'll play Atlanta.
I'll be playing.
I actually think I'm pretty sure I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, we'll get to the late night hammer in a minute.
No, I mean, not even the late night one. I think I know what I'm going to do separately. I'm probably going to be okay. So I have Boston ahead. I think one of the third basemen from this game is probably who you're playing if you can afford them. Devers and Ramirez. Ramirez has been really bad this year, and it's not being
really. I didn't even know that.
He's hitting like 260 with 6 home runs, and he doesn't run anymore. Like his production. I mean, just look at his. Actually, who else hasn't been all that special? Like, he's got some home runs, and RBIs, but even Devers, like these guys are like JD Martinez averages he's at 20% more fantasy points per game than these guys. Would you guess that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, Ramirez is fine. We're used to this guy who just gives us 1 million fantasy points, and he hasn't stolen a base in over a month, and he used to just run every time he got on base. But I do think, there's a lot of good third basemen actually, even on a small slate. I do think that both these third basemen stand out as being good plays. I do think that the Boston side of this is a little bit interesting because of I think lower ownership, and I think that Cassis is a value play you could use, assuming that he's batting 5th or 6th. Easy to like the guys at the top. I'm probably you're either gonna spend up for Strider or one of these guys, probably in general. I don't know. I'm just not that excited about this slate, except for I'm excited more about talking about the next game. Do you have anything what's your priority in this game?
Well, Verlander.
Oh no, I meant in the game we were talking about.
Like I just said, like both hitters, and both.
Just like both sides. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and like I said, you don't need that. I don't think you need that many points. So if this dude's gonna come in and freaking walk everybody in Cleveland, that's fine too. You know what I mean? I'll get my Quan single and my Miles Straw double and my maybe Ramirez gets something. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna need 9 runs in this game. I don't think.
Yeah.
Problem is, I think they're gonna be owned. So I think you might be right. Maybe Boston is a better. So I'll probably end up playing both.
Yeah. I'm going to if I stack any team tonight, it's probably going to be the Mets. I know Strider's awesome and all these things. He has started getting a little walk happy, and he started giving up a lot more power recently, which probably is a good sign for his development as a pitcher. I thought he was striking out too many hitters, and that he wasn't, because of that, he wasn't able to carry himself further into games. But I think that they're, and then look, it's not, on top of everything else, you have no Pete Alonso most likely because
thanks a ton for that, by the way.
Yeah, great.
He was in my big lineup, and everybody else was killing it. And then I see the D to D in my freaking DraftKings thing.
I had it worse. I was looking at it, and I saw the 3-hitter somebody get on. Next thing I look at my phone, and they scored 2 runs. I'm like, oh, he hit a home run. No. Tommy Pham came in for him, hit a home run. That was a little tilting. I like the idea of okay, look, I don't think you necessarily need to fully stack here. I don't mean 5-man stack. I think that a 3 or 4-man Met stack, though, is completely viable in this kind of slate. You have to try and play to get different games somewhere. Why not just take one gamble? And that's probably going to be my strategy tonight, is to get 3 of these Mets in. Probably going to be Marte, Beatty, and Vogelbach.
Oh, Vogelbach, 2,400. Let's go.
Maybe McNeil, maybe Lindor. I don't know which ones yet for sure. And if Alonso plays, it'll be Alonso. But I like the idea of playing 3 of these Mets to try to get different. What do you think about that, Sheets?
They're cheap. And on a 4-game slate, you don't have to talk me into it. I mean, Strider's going to be the most popular pitcher on the slate, so I have no problem. I have no problem in a 4-game slate with someone like that. Like I said, I mean, he's showing signs of not being a freaking steamroller, right? So he's going to be 70% owned. So I have no problem with that, and I definitely want to play Verlander here.
I want to play Verlander too. And it's great hitting conditions, just for what it's worth. Like 81 degrees, 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out in Atlanta in the summer is just a dream hit for hitters. That's the problem. But hey, they got to hit it. Like what's happening with Scherzer last night. Although, and the funny part is that I think that Atlanta is going to be popular. Like I think they're going to be pretty high owned as far as these teams go. So I'm going to stick with the Verlander and the Mets as my thing today.
I like it.
It's at least something that could work.
All right. So in the late night hammer, the 2.5-hour break or whatever it is, you get the leader of the free world, Drew Smiley, against what could be the chalk. I don't know. And Reed Detmers, I'm not sure. Kind of a funny guy to be chalky with his 2 fantasy points, 8 fantasy points, 8 fantasy points, 11 fantasy points. 0-5 with an ERA of 8 million. But he's barely really cheap. I guess they're in play, I suppose, both of them. As far as hitting goes, yeah, I think both hitting teams are in play too. I mean, I don't know. It's a messed up slate.
It's a messed up slate for sure. I would go with I actually think Smiley is a very reasonable play here, and I think he's going to get low ownership, but maybe it's overly creative. And he's had 2 bad starts, but he was kind of cruising there for most of the season. He's actually been solid enough. And the Angels are a little. I mean, look at it. Just look at his numbers on the year. Smiley's actually having a pretty damn good season, and Detmers is cheap. And even with his lousy numbers, his average number is decent enough because he does have some ceiling-ish games. I don't mind either of these pitchers as SP2s. And I think that I'm probably going to go with Smiley because of the low ownership. And I am probably going to be stacking up the Cubbies a little bit.
Well, look, I mean, if you're playing the Mets, that means you're not playing Strider, right? So if you're not playing Strider, I'm not playing the Boston or Cleveland guys. So it's really between, well, you play Verlander, and then you have your choice between attacking the Houston bats in Toronto, the Toronto bats in Toronto, or this game. And maybe this game is just, this is just the pitchers you have to pick from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you got your guy Joe Adele back on the tent.
Oh no, I was totally going to tell you that. Oh my, I can't believe that. As I wrote that down when I was home, and I'm like, I do not forget Joe Adele, and now I forgot him. Yeah, he's back. He's been killing it in the minors. He's 2,500, and I'll play him against my pitcher.
that works for me. Yeah, that makes sense. If you're not playing, I do think that like Wisdom and Morel, like these guys they're just going to get a low owned Cub stack, and the bottom of the stack is like more appealing than the top of it is, which is just kind of funny. So I'm in on the complete bottom with Morel. I just want to get weird on this one. So I'm going to end up with Cubs, Mets, and probably like a Toronto. No, I'll probably have some one-offs from the Boston-Cleveland game, or maybe from Toronto. But I tell you what, man, it's not a beautiful slate. It's one I would just suggest getting weird with and feeling comfortable getting weird.
Cubs, yeah, either the Cubs or the Angels. You can play Trout easily on this slate too.
Mm-hmm.
Trout can be really popular, I think.
Trout, yeah, I think that I think you're right, and I think that the Angels end up the most owned team. Yeah,
You think so?
I think so. I think that's why Smiley is showing up as the.
And I think they're gonna. Well, the thing is, if they bet Joe Adele like first, I mean, he'll be like huge draw.
Yeah. They'll
bat him ninth, I think. So.
Yeah. Let's see. So if I try to mix these guys in, who do I? That's the thing is like it is weird. I'm trying to figure out the Cubs that I want to play. Amaya or Gomes. Okay, I can play Gomes, Suzuki, Morel. Let's try that.
Maybe we should just go back to Berrios and play him.
Maybe we should just
play Verlander and Berrios, fade Strider, and then play Mets and somebody from Angels and Cubs. Okay. Do that.
I mean, my lineup is going to be so bizarre and wonky tonight. It's just going to make no sense to most people, I think. The bottom of the Cubs order. It's just so weird.
Nico Horner 5K, like a champion.
Yeah, of course. You gotta play Nico.
How do you play Nico Horner at 5K?
Have Suzuki it is for me. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do is some Boston, New York, and Chicago is where I'm at right now, at least as of this time of the day. I don't know where I end up, but that's what I'm probably gonna do.
How about you get is Zach Collins, does he play?
Zach Collins.
I don't see, he hasn't played yet this season.
No. For who? I don't even know who that is. Like
for Cleveland.
For Cleveland, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find something.
Yeah.
Catcher.
You have such a funny process. You still go the old way. You're the only person I know who does this.
What do you mean?
You look through on the site rather than looking through on like all of the projection sites that you have.
Yeah, no, I look right here. Well, I do have the projections on my other monitor.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, this is how I build like right on here.
Yeah.
So this would be the old 3-2-2. The old 3 Mets, 3 Cubs, 2 Angels with Verlander Berrios, leaving 600 on the table. There we go.
That sounds like something.
Everybody's gonna have this, right?
I got the 4-2-1-1 with the Cubs. I only ended up using 2 Mets, and then
meanwhile, no catcher that I put in here actually plays. So I got to find a catcher who's actually going to
play. You want me to tell you who's playing? Who's probably projected to play? Just to maybe
Alvarez. He's going to play, right?
Alvarez. Oh yeah, Alvarez. Alvarez should play, but I wouldn't pay $3,500 for that. Seems like
he's got 9 home runs.
No, he's got power for sure, but like if I'm going to play Mets, I want to play just play the best priced featured one.
So who do you want to play a catcher? Just give me a catcher.
Gomes or either Gomes.
Yeah, Gomes.
Gomes or Amaya.
The best part about Gomes in this lineup, and now I leave 1,200 on the table.
Yeah.
Gotta love this.
And oddly, Kirk may end up being the most popular catcher or one of them, and he's facing the second best pitcher on the slate.
Wait, who did you say? What was Morel's price? 4,600.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
For the 9-hitter.
Well, of course. Where else would you bat a guy like that?
Yeah. All right. Well, it's not the best DFS day. We know that. We can hang out and watch some golf. I'm going to get my kid and hopefully get him some ice cream and stuff to get over the wisdom teeth removal. And
you just put it out in the universe.
What?
You just did it.
What did I say?
Patrick Wisdom.
Oh my God! How did I
just put it out there?
You're right. You're 100% right, Sheets. And of course, how could I not play Wisdom on Wisdom Teeth?
Not only that, but he has to go to the dentist, right?
Yeah. At the.
How do you not play Smiley? You know what I mean? Like these are the things.
Let's go. This is the important stuff.
These are the things that you know. These are the things.
I'm with you. I love this. This is hilarious. Why does Zach Collins have a 4K price? I don't even understand some of these pricing. things. Like they're just crazy.
And,
I
and,
love
and,
that.
we can make any of a million Adele references for Joe Adele. and if we feel we're playing, we're putting in too fishy a lineup, we can always play trap. So here we go. I think we've exhausted all of it.
Yeah.
We'll check it out later, I suppose.
Why not? All right. Good luck, everybody.
All right, later.
All right, man. Have a